Peter, thank you so much for your time. Weather records, temperature records, I should say, are broken all the time. Is there anything unusual in what's happening around Europe?
Well, it's unusual, and that is becoming the new usual. We can expect more and more of these extremes that are hitting us. We have one happening in our part of the world at the moment where a river, the biggest river ever recorded flow in its flow time quantities, is now 2 meters higher than ever recorded, and it is flowing across the landscape in ways never seen before. So this is the kind of new normal that we can expect. Some of it's going to be good. It's nice to be warm in Europe instead of having to burn gas to stay warm, but some of it is very damaging, and that's what we're seeing in California as well. But certainly the extremes are here to stay.
What are the worst effects of these sorts of extreme temperatures during the winter? What happens to Mother Nature when things are turned upside down like this?
Well, what happens is that the jet streams are going further and becoming larger, and they can get stuck like this heat dome that's happening over Europe. And certainly, Mother Nature is still working, but it is working overtime in order to try and get back to some kind of normalcy. Atmospheric rivers are not normal. They do happen. We've seen them recorded, but they're getting more and more of them happening. So we can expect to see extremes that impact on our cities and agriculture, and of course on the natural systems of the world as well. The biodiversity of the world has to also put up with these extremes, and it's really causing all kinds of impacts that we really shouldn't have to have endured, and certainly they shouldn't. It is clear that we must rapidly accelerate the phasing out of fossil fuels.
Absolutely, Peter. You know, you and I have spoken about this every time we talk about the climate crisis. Of course, we talk about the solutions and how emissions have to be reduced, about how we have to stop extracting fossil fuels. Just for this particular interview while you're with us, I just wanted really to concentrate on the more practical effects of what's happening. We're currently discussing the heat wave during winter in Europe. And in terms of that, are we naive to believe that the climate crisis was going to give us particularly hot summers, but then particularly cold winters? Because that's clearly not happening right now in Europe.
Yeah, well, it is I dare say there are some parts where the extremes of cold are being experienced as well. But mostly we are seeing more and more energy in the atmosphere, more heat. So that's to be expected. As Al Gore said, there are 8 extra Hiroshima bombs worth of energy going into the atmosphere every day. That extra energy is what we're experiencing. It will mostly provide us with more extremes of heat, but also more extremes of cold in some places. This is what's happening, and it disrupts everything. It disrupts the economy, of course, but cities and agriculture are not going to be able to plan the way they normally do, and that's our problem.
Absolutely. You can imagine the animals that should be hibernating at this time of year in winter, and they'll be confused. Peter, thank you very much indeed for your time. Always appreciate it. Peter Newman in Australia.